Daytime Ottawa, you are going to leave this show, everybody, so health conscious.
I know, it's true.
You're going to have no excuse not to have a healthy lifestyle, especially when it comes to food. We are joined by one of our favorite guests on this show about the differences between allergies and food sensitivities and intolerances. Exactly. And I don't think a lot of people understand what the differences are. So let's start there. What are the differences?
Well, I think the big thing is that traditional allergies follow a very specific biochemical pathway. For an immediate allergic response, it stimulates the immunoglobulin E pathway, which stimulates your mast cells to release histamine. Okay. So we get the itchy, the swelly, all those typical symptoms that we know.
Sneezing, watery eyes, that sort of thing.
Exactly.
Okay.
And, you know, certainly it could be a medical emergency if somebody's reacting to something and having an anaphylactic reaction. But there's something else called immunoglobulin G response, which a lot of people don't really highlight, but you can actually test for.
Okay.
And what that is that's a delayed allergic response. So over 24 hours, all of a sudden, after eating something, you're itching the next day or having these same type of allergic symptoms.
Wow, it must be tough to pinpoint those if there's so much time that's gone by.
Exactly. Well, the greatest thing to do is that you've got two types of allergy tests that you can run. One of them is a scratch test, so you go and you either on your back or your arm, you get little samples of these food products or environmentals scratched on your skin, and you watch for the little wheel or histamine response. Okay. But you can only test about 10 to 20 items at one time, you know, and with kids, if they're really excited or nervous, you're getting an adrenaline response, which can give you false negatives.
Okay.
So the way that we prefer testing is actually taking one blood draw, sending it to a lab, and they can test 100+ items. Okay. And so then we get a very clear picture, and we say test for immunoglobulin E and immunoglobulin G, so we're looking for both responses.
Getting back to allergies, it seems that more and more people over the years are getting more and more allergies.
Yes.
Is this correct, and why is that happening?
Absolutely, because the allergy statistics have tripled since the early 1900s. So we're really seeing a dramatic rise. A part of that issue has to do with the environment and global warming. What happens is it stimulates a greater release of pollens from our plants, and we're breathing more things that we have to manage. So thus, the liver has to manage more, and then we start reacting to foods.
Okay. So, getting back as well to the two types that you were talking about, the one that's delayed, the second one. Okay. Immunoglobulin.
That, of course, Who couldn't say that, CL?
Immunoglobulin G.
Yes, that one. So does this mean food intolerance? Is that where intolerance? No, that's a whole separate thing.
Immunoglobulin G, that's still an allergy. Okay. That's a delayed response allergy. A sensitivity or an intolerance doesn't follow that pathway, but in some way aggravates the body, and it will typically be where your genetic weaknesses are. So, for example, my kids, if they have red dye number 5, I'm looking for that Skittle bag because it's there.
Is that right?
And it's behavior. Yeah, immediately. I can tell within 15 minutes.
In what ways? What sort of symptoms would?
Very, very animated, intolerance to listening.
Really? Sort of
we all thought that was natural.
We thought it was just sugar.
Just really, and I look at them and they're zoned out, you know?
Okay.
So that's an example. Somebody with a dairy sensitivity might start getting menstrual difficulties or headaches or, you know, so again, it just depends, or arthritis. That's a really big area.
I read another one too that said dark circles and those types of things as well, which you wouldn't normally put those together with intolerances.
Yeah, exactly. So again, if you see darkness underneath the eyes, that is one type of symptom. Bloating, gas, headaches, fatigue, lethargy. All of those symptoms might be related to food sensitivities.
Almost every time you come on the show, you really talk about the digestive system and how important it is and what the connections are here. And obviously our digestive system comes into play of what we're eating.
Yes.
So today you wanted to talk about organics, and I guess that can really go a long way in helping sensitivities and allergies, right?
Because two of our best approaches for treating allergies is, first of all, I was just chatting with the girls, and acupuncture is fabulous preventatively. But food, there is something something called the Dirty Dozen, and there's 12 foods that are shown to be at highest for herbicides and pesticides. And so if you're going to choose to go organic, especially with children, these would be the 12 to choose.
Okay.
Because you can actually reduce your exposure from average of 10 pesticides a day down to 2 pesticides a day.
Wow.
By doing this. So you can reduce it by 90% by making 12 changes. So the most common of these would be lettuce. A lot of people have a lot of salads, kale, celery, carrots, bell peppers. Then when we start getting into the fruit family, we have grapes, apples. I mean, how many apples a day do kids eat?
Yeah.
So that would be the biggest area that I would encourage people to go organic. Strawberries, cherries, pears, what else are we missing? Peaches and nectarines.
So is it not enough just to clean these really well?
Not enough, because the herbicides and pesticides are still embedded, so we're still getting exposure that way.
About the blood draw being the most effective test for the allergies, what are the tests for intolerances?
Okay, so the most traditional would be the elimination challenge. You think you react to something, you take it out, and then you try it, the symptom comes back, and boom, you've got your reaction. At OptiHealth, we use something called a Vega test system, and then we double check it using the elimination challenge.
Okay.
So it's a simple technique.
Every time you come on the show, you've sent us some background information, which is part of the newsletter that you put together. How can people get the newsletter if they're interested?
So we're revamping our new website, and all the newsletters will be posted on our website, optihealth.ca, and presently they can call the office, 829-7100, and just be added to the email list.
Wonderful, because it's got all this information, the Dirty Dozen, as well as 12 that you don't have to worry so much about being organic. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Talia, you're gonna be more health conscious when you leave this show today. Don't you change that dial, because we're talking more health conscious a little bit later on in the show. We'll be back to check in with Jamie in just a minute. Don't go away.
I said change that dial like it's